Connecting to the words of the Gemara can be difficult. This series, Bringing Gemara to Life, will allow us to experience the Gemara from a new perspective, using real people and live performances. Hope you enjoy!
We began in Seder Nezikim with the laws of returning lost objects. We continued in Maseches Kiddushin, Seder Nashim, tackling a sugya about marriage and shlichus. Last week, we entered Seder Zraim and learned the laws of Kriyas Shema and how to say Kriyas Shema properly and Kriyas Shema interrupteds. And tonight, this evening, we arrive in Seder Moed. So welcome back to Bringing Gemara to Life. We are now on Yoma, Daf Pei Gimel Amud Aleph, Yoma 83a, and it is Yom Kippur. Welcome to Yom Kippur, at least tonight. And the fascinating Gemara tonight will teach us about under what circumstances one may break their fast on Yom Kippur if they are sick. It's a very interesting, very fascinating, and very practical sugya. And we're going to see many scenarios about how to break your fast on Yom Kippur. So here's the first rule the Gemara quotes from the Mishnah. The Mishnah states, Chole, if someone is sick, machilun oso al pi bikiyin. We feed him on the basis of an expert opinion, such as a doctor.
Oh no, I'm feeling really sick, but I don't think I can eat. It's Yom Kippur. I'm not sure.
I think it would help you a lot to eat, but should we call a doctor?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Hi, Alex. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty sick, and this Yankee blanket isn't helping at all.
Oh, I have a Met blanket. Would that help?
That might be better.
Let me examine you. It's not good, Alex. You really need to eat.
The Mishnah seems to entrust the doctor, not the patient, to render a decision about whether or not the patient should eat on Yom Kippur. So that's okay if the patient and doctor agree. What if they're not on the same page? What if the doctor and patient don't have the same opinion about whether or not the patient should eat? That's the next scenario in the Gemara, which states, Amar Rabbi Yanai. Rabbi Yanai says, Chola omer tzarich, v'rofe omer eno tzarich. If the sick patient says, I need to eat, the doctor says, you don't have to eat.
Nava, please bring me some Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I'm really sick.
I'm not sure about that, but I do have chocolate syrup. But it's Yom Kippur. Are you sure you want to eat?
No, I need Ben & Jerry's ice cream, chocolate syrup, anything. I'm feeling so sick.
Maybe we should call a doctor and see what they say.
Hey, Alex, what seems to be the problem?
I'm feeling so sick. It's Yom Kippur, but I need to eat. The Ben & Jerry's ice cream will make me feel so much better. It's chocolate syrup, anything.
I think you're fine. You can eat.
I know, I need to
Don't
eat.
eat.
I need to eat.
You don't need it. You're fine. You're great.
It will make me feel better, even though it's
It's
Yom
Yom Kippur.
What do we do in this scenario? Shomin lachola. We listen to the sick person. Even though the doctor said you don't have to eat, we listen to the chola. My taima was the reason. The Gemara cites a pasuk in Mishlei, Leiv yodeya maras nafsho. The heart knows the bitterness of its soul. A patient knows himself or herself better than anyone else. Here the rabbis of the Gemara make a critical point, which is that the patient is in a stronger position to make a judgment than the doctor. You got to trust your gut. Leiv yodeya maras nafsho. And the Gemara further explains why it's not obvious. Pshita, I would have thought it's obvious. Mao desema rofe kimle tvei. I might have thought the doctor knows better. Kamash malan, we trust the patient more than the doctor if the patient says, I want to eat. But the plot thickens. The Gemara then presents the reverse case. What if rofe omer tzarich, v'chola omer eno tzarich? The doctor says, this guy has to eat, and the patient says, I don't want to eat.
All right, you're still not better. No, you got to give me something to eat.
No, I don't want to eat. It's Yom Kippur. I need to fast.
All right, I'm going to examine you again, but you have to do what I say.
I need to fast. I don't want to eat.
Alex, you're going to die. You need to eat.
I don't want to eat.
Can you guess who the Gemara says we listen to? Shockingly, the Gemara says, Shomin la rofe. We listen to the doctor. Ma taima, what's the reason? Tunva hu dinakat le. We believe that the patient is confused due to his illness. When he refuses food, he's not making any sense. He's being illogical. We listen to the doctor, and he must eat. Now we do not trust the patient's judgment. Amazing, amazing difference. The patient is believed when he says, I do want to eat. The patient is not believed when he says, I don't want to eat.
And not only that, this statement of Rabbi Yanai seems to contradict what we already learned in the Mishnah. The Mishnah told us that a chola, someone who's sick, machilin oso al pi bakiyin, that we feed the person based on the doctor's advice. The doctor says to eat, then we feed them.
I think you really need to eat something.
But it's Yom Kippur. I don't know if I can eat. I
When you're
have to
sick, it'll
fast.
make you better.
Let's call a doctor.
Let's call a doctor.
Again? Look, I told you, you're sick. You really, really need to eat. Please.
Okay. Maybe I should eat.
So let's examine this case of the Mishnah a little bit further. What we learned is that we feed him based on the advice of experts, yes, but based on what he himself says, no. Which contradicts what Rabbi Yanai said, where he said that we feed him based on what the chola says, what the sick person says that they need to do. But it implies that it's bekiyin, multiple experts. We listen to multiple doctors. If they say that he should eat, then we tell the chola, we tell the sick person to eat. But just based on one doctor, a baki, it would seem that we wouldn't listen to them. Al pi bekiyin, multiple experts in, al pi atzmo, but on his own, based on his own intuition, lo, no. But it also seems that there's a requirement for at least 2 doctors, which also seems to contradict what Rabbi Yanai said, where he thought that just one doctor, one expert was enough. Al pi bekiyin, in, based on multiple experts, multiple doctors, yes, but al pi atzmo, based on himself, lo, no.
I think you should really eat something. You're sick.
I don't know. It's Yom Kippur. I think we should call a doctor.
Okay, let's call some doctors.
All right, Alex, let me examine you again, just to be sure. Yeah, it's really bad. I think you're gonna eat, but I'm gonna get a second opinion. There's a wonderful doctor here, Dr. Stein. He's going to examine you.
How are you feeling?
I'm a bit sick, but it's Yom Kippur, so I don't know if I should eat or not.
No, I can feel your pulse is very threatening. You need to eat. Definitely.
Okay, 2
I agree.
doctors that I need to eat.
We need to feed him.
Feed him.
Feed him.
Bring him the carrot.
Oh, thank you.
But Rabbi Yanai seems to say that just one doctor would be enough to compel him. Just one doctor would be enough to get him to eat. So how do we defend Rabbi Yanai against the Mishnah? What would Rabbi Yanai say for himself? He would answer, this is what we're dealing with. The Amar lo tzrechna, where the patient says, I don't need it. You doctors say that I should eat, but I know I don't need it.
I think you should really eat something.
No. It's Yom Kippur. I don't want to eat.
You have to. You'll get your strength back.
No. It's Yom Kippur. I'm fasting today.
I really think you should, but should we call some doctors?
Let's call some doctors.
Again, here we are. You really,
It's
really
an emergency.
need to eat.
No, I don't want to eat. It's Yom
Here's my
Kippur.
colleague,
It's Yom
Dr.
Kippur.
Stein.
I will not
Very
eat. It's
Freddy.
Yom Kippur.
Very bad.
It's Yom Kippur.
Alex.
100%.
It's Yom Kippur.
You
I'm not
need
going
to
eat. I'm
eat.
fasting. It's Yom
We're
Kippur.
in charge.
It's Yom
We're the
Kippur.
doctors. You're just Alex.
It's Yom Kippur. I won't eat. I'm fasting.
Bring on the
Chayei
carrot.
olam.
Bring him food. Force him.
No.
Eat.
Feed him
You
carrots.
have to. Listen to the
No,
doctors.
no.
2 doctors said you should.
The Gemara presses further, and it says, Vilis bule al pi baki, that they should feed him based on the advice of one expert. Rabbi Yanai says that in such a circumstance, if one doctor says that they should eat, then we tell the chola to eat. You must eat on Yom Kippur. Why then does the Mishnah say bekiyin? Experts, multiple doctors. So it must be referring to a different case. Lo tzricha, says the Gemara. No, it's not necessary. It's a different case. De'ika achrina bahadeh de'amar lo tzarich. That there is someone else with the patient, another doctor who says lo tzarich, that it's not necessary. In that case, mechilin oso al pi bekiyin. In that case, we listen to the 2 doctors versus the 1 doctor and the patient.
So what do you think?
I think he needs to eat.
I think he needs to
No,
eat.
I think he'll be fine.
No, I agree with Dr. Miller. I don't need to eat. I don't need to
Yeah.
eat.
No, his color looks good. His still
His
hydrated.
pulse is terrible. It's thready. He's tachycardic. Look, he's confused.
He would get too stressed.
Dr.
if he
Miller
ate.
knows what's up.
Help me out here.
I'm not
You want it
gonna
on
eat.
your conscience when he dies?
I don't think. I think
That's for Scheigelfeld. No, you need to eat.
No,
make it
I'm
another
gonna
one.
go with-
Eat.
he can make it another 25 hours.
No,
25
listen to Dr.
hours? You
Miller.
can't make it
Listen, I
25
don't need to
seconds.
eat. I don't need to eat.
I think he'll be fine.
So this is the case where the Mishnah says that chola, someone who's sick, mechilan oso al pi bakiyin, that we feed him based on the advice of experts. 2 said that he should, 1 and the patient said he shouldn't. We listened to the 2.
Isn't this obvious, though? This is a case of suffik nefashos, of matters of life and death. We know in matters of life and death, suffik nefashos lahakel, that we always go leniently. We should tell the patient to eat.
You're right. It is kind of obvious. So it must be this. It must be the following case. It must be where 2 doctors and the patient say that he shouldn't eat, and then 2 doctors say that he should eat.
How are you feeling?
Pretty sick.
I can see that. Your pulse is terrible. You need to eat.
You look pretty good. I think you can make it for the next 24 hours.
Are you kidding? This man's going to die. He needs to eat.
He's totally fine. Look at that. Look at that pudding. His color is perfect.
Scheigelfeld, you're
You're
so
crazy.
sick.
He should
I
not
think
eat.
I
He's
shouldn't
totally
eat.
fine.
Eat.
Eat.
He does not need to eat.
I
Eat.
think I shouldn't eat. I don't think I need to eat.
You need to eat.
Siding with these doctors.
You guys are so alarmist.
These
and
doctors
people.
know. These doctors
No,
know.
he shouldn't eat. There's no question about it.
So what happens in this scenario? Rav Safra told us that 2 witnesses are like 100 witnesses, and 100 witnesses are like 2 witnesses. So it should be, even though it's 3 versus 2, it should be as if it's 2 versus 2. And it's equal. So who are we going to listen to? But really, Rav Safra's statement only applies in a case of testimony, when people are giving edus, they're witnessing about something. But here, this is not testimony. So what the Mishnah is teaching us is actually that even though it's 3 saying don't eat and it's 2 saying eat, we listen to the 2 doctors, the 2 experts who say that this chola, this person, must eat on Yom Kippur.
You know, you got to do it.
You gotta eat.
Okay.
That's
I
it.
can't believe he's gonna eat.
Car race.
All right. Yes. Yeah. Eating.
It's Yom Kippur. How could you eat?
So happy he's finally got the food in his mouth.
Good job.
I have a very strong opinion about these matters. I believe that if the patient wants to eat, even if 100 doctors tell him he doesn't have to eat, we trust the patient's judgment. I don't care what the doctor's qualifications are, how much they trained. The patient knows he needs to eat. We listen to the patient. Lev yodei amaras nafsho. The heart knows the bitterness of its soul.
We all agree. He's fine.
Looks good to me.
No, I need to eat.
He
I
doesn't
need to
need
eat.
to
It's in his, it's in his head.
I
He's
need
fine.
to eat.
You'll
Don't
be
do
fine.
it.
It's
No,
Yom Kippur.
It's not
No, it's Yom Kippur.
necessary.
I need to eat.
You're
You
gonna
don't
be
need
fine.
to. No.
Oh,
Ay, 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 ay.
But Mari Babashi, doesn't it say that im ein sham bekiyin, machilon oso al piatzmo, that if there are no bekiyin there, then we feed him based on himself? That implies that if there are bekiyin there, if there are doctors, there are experts, we have to listen to the experts, we have to listen to the doctors.
I believe we only apply that rule in a situation where the patient does not want to eat. But if the patient does want to eat, all that expert opinion is thrown out, and we listen to the patient. Depends if the patient does or does not want to eat. The Mishnah is only talking about one of those cases. Now that we know there are situations where the sick person must eat, to what extent do we feed him? What type of foods do we give him? Or other, not Yom Kippur situations, where someone's life is threatened. The Mishnah says in Yoma as follows: Misha achsel bulmus, someone who is seized with a disease called bulmus. Machil noso afilu dvarim tameim. We even give him non-kosher food, ad she'yoru einav, until his eyes light up, signaling he's healed. Here's another example of a case. Misha neshacho kelev shota. If someone was bit by a rabid dog, we don't take the liver, the lobe of the liver of that dog, and feed it to him. Rabbi Masya ben Charash matir. Rabbi Masya ben Charash says we do feed him the lobe of the liver of that dog that bit him. There's a psychological effect from that, which actually helps the patient heal. Now they're going to convince him to eat the dog's liver.
Alex, you were bitten by a rabid dog. You need to eat its liver.
No, I always told you I don't like when you make me dog liver.
I know that it's Yom Kippur, but you need to eat the
No,
dog
but
liver.
It's gonna make me throw up even more.
It's the medicine for your condition.
I really don't like dog liver.
The Gemara has a long discussion about different parts of the Mishnah. We're going to focus on just one item right now, which is when treating someone seized with bulmus, and they have to be fed until their vision is restored, what type of foods exactly should they eat? The Gemara cites a brayso that says, Tanu Rabbanon, Misha achsol bulmos, machil hakal. We give that person with the bulmos the least problematic foods, the least halachically problematic foods first. We go lighter to worse. We don't want to give him the worst Torah prohibitions right away. So for example, if we have a choice between giving the sick person tevel unevela, tevel, untithed produce, and nevela, non-kosher meat, which one do we feed him? They're both prohibited by the Torah. Machil nosa nevela. We give him the non-kosher meat. The non-kosher meat has a less severe punishment than the eating of tevel, untithed produce.
Tevel, nevela. Tevel, nevela. We'll go with nevela.
Tevel u'shvius? Shvius. If you have a choice between eating untithed produce and produce from the Shemitah year, the 7th year, you go with produce from the Shemitah year.
Tevel, shvius. Tevel, shvius. We'll go with shvius.
Tevel u'truma, untithed produce versus truma set aside for a Kohen, eaten by a non-Kohen. Tanaihi, it's a machlokas tanaim. Desanya, machil noso tevel, ve'im machil noso truma. The Tanakama says we feed him tevel and not truma. Ben Tema argues and says truma below tevel. We'd rather feed him truma that belongs to a Kohen versus untithed produce tevel.
Tevel, truma, tevel. It's a machlokas.
So there you have it. The rabbis took a very simple statement from the Mishnah and they looked at it very critically, trying to see all the nuances, get every single detail out of that statement. And we saw, when do we listen to patients? When do we listen to doctors? When do we listen to the patient versus the doctor? 2 doctors, 1 patient. 2 doctors, 2 doctors. 2 doctors, 2 doctors, 1 patient. All the different combinations that we could have. And the Gemara taught us some very critical principles about who we trust when it comes to life and death situations, and the heavy reliance that we have on medical opinions, but also the reliance that we have on the inherent trust that a patient has for themselves, that we trust our gut, we know that a person knows what is best for him or herself. And we've touched on the different issues when you have different levels of forbidden foods. What do we go with first, starting with the lighter prohibition and working up to the heavier prohibition? And we hope that none of this ever be lemaisa, that it never be something that we actually have to practically do on a Yom Kippur. We also hope that nobody ever have to actually eat a dog liver. But we thank everyone for joining us tonight.
That was really complicated. I have a huge headache.
I know.
I got some
migraine.
some migraine pills.
Yes.
Doctor.
Yes.
Save us.
Thank you. Thank you for helping us
Bring Gemara to